Hi, boys and girls. So, we are going to continue our lesson on plant and animal relationships. But today's lesson, we're going to try to put together all of our ideas and write an explanation to why there are no new chalta trees. So, in this lesson, we are going to revisit the Bengal Tiger Reserve. We're going to try to answer this question: why aren't new chalta trees growing in the Bengal Tiger Reserve? And think about the maps that we observed and the data that we collected from those maps. So here's your first stop and jot. I want you to remember from the last lesson, we started to investigate how new plants grow. So we learned about seeds. So here's your first stop and jot. You're going to write down whatever you think, however you can answer this question. What did we learn about where plants come from? So here's the chalta fruit that we've been learning about. This is what it looks like closed, and this is what it looks like when it's cut open. These are the seeds, and there's a little arrow to show you this what the seeds look like. And I want you to keep this question in mind. What observations do you have about these photographs of the chalta fruit? So here is the information that we took from the maps that day. We noticed that in the year 1995, there were 143 fruits. And in the second childhood tree, we learned that there were 210. And then in 2015, we learned that there was 147. And then in the second childhood tree, we learned that there was 233 fruits. So here's your second stop and jot. You're going to take a few seconds and think about this information. What do you think these numbers mean? And how do you know? So when we put these ideas together, we can say that we think that the problem is not that the chalta trees were making fewer seeds, because our data on the other slide that I just showed you, it says that there were probably more seeds in 2015 than in 1995. So then we need to move on to some other ideas. What would be another possible reason that there were no chalta seeds in 2015? So you can use this picture to help you and maybe come up with some new idea as to why the chalta trees are not growing. So this is your stop and jot number 3. So you're going to stop, click in this box, and jot down what you think based off of maybe looking at this picture and maybe looking at the seeds from the last slide and using the data from the chart. Once you got all those ideas together, boys and girls, we are going to write a scientific explanation. So a scientific explanation is what scientists write to tell others what they have figured out about how things work or why things happen. So, a new possible reason could be that the chalta seeds in 2015 were not getting enough water and sunlight to grow into full grown trees. I got this idea by looking at the picture from the previous slide. It did look a little foggy, and I'm thinking maybe there wasn't enough sunlight, and those chalta trees look dry. So, maybe there wasn't enough water, or maybe there wasn't enough rain. So, putting those ideas together, I thought about these words, and scientists use scientific words to help them explain things. And you will use scientific words to help explain what you have learned about how plants grow. So, remember, we learned these words from our last lesson: sunlight and water, seeds, full grown, and sprout. So I'm going to demonstrate how we can use these words. Let's look at these two words together. I'm going to talk about one way that they are related to each other. So if we think about it, water, plants need water. If they get water, then they can grow into new plants. So seeds need water to grow into new plants. So now it's your turn to try. Let's practice with these other pairs of words. What are some ways that the words sunlight and water are related to each other? Maybe you want to take a few seconds to think about it. And again, you're going to stop and jot here. In one or two sentences, you can respond to this by saying how these two words are related. So again, a scientific explanation is just a way that scientists use ideas to put things together and figure from what they figured out. And I thought it would be helpful to put this word vocabulary word up. Explanation, it just means a description of how things, of some things work or why some things happen. So, what is a scientific explanation? It's a way of answering a question that we've had, and it is based on science ideas that we have learned. So, all of the maps and the books and the videos that we've watched so far, and all the books that we've read, and all the pictures and charts that we've used, that's the way that we can put all of those ideas together to show what we've learned and to try to answer this question: why aren't new Chalta trees growing in the Bengal Tiger Reserve? So we came up with this one idea from our last lesson, that plants make seeds that can grow into new plants. And so from that idea, we learned that only seeds that get enough sunlight and water sprout and grow into full grown plants, because we did the observation of looking at the seed samples that did not get enough sunlight. And then we looked at samples that did get enough sunlight and they sprouted and grew. And then we looked at two other samples that didn't get enough water, and one that didn't get any water, it didn't grow. And this second sample that got some water, it grew and sprouted into small plants. So, putting all of those ideas together, we are going to finalize our ideas and write something on this paper to explain. So, we are going to scientifically explain why the new Chalta trees aren't growing. So here's your question: why aren't new Chalta trees growing in the Bengal Tiger Reserve? So I put a little direction here for you to double click in the box in order for you to type your response. And here are the questions again: why aren't new Chalta trees growing in the Bengal Tiger Reserve? And why aren't the Chalta seeds getting what they need to grow? So, boys and girls, you can go back at this time, look at all the slides, put all of your ideas together, and try to answer these two questions in complete full sentences with punctuation marks and capital letters. Okay, boys and girls, I hope this lesson helped you, and I will see you next time. Bye.